Last year, 21 years old, I was able to save over $100,000 while serving active duty in the U.S. military, and I was able to do it by following 3 different steps, and they were honestly really simple looking back, and today I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can do it too, especially if you're just like me and you're in the military right now and you're just trying to get financially ahead. So the cool thing about these 3 different things that I'm going to be talking about today is that anyone can actually do it. I feel like I'm a pretty normal guy that grew up in a normal family, and I was able to accomplish this goal. And maybe you're like me and you've always felt like, I'm made for something special. I know that I'm going to accomplish something in life and I'm going to do well financially and I don't want to be like everyone else. And that was just the mindset that I had. And so that kind of kicks me off to the first thing that I did, and that was something that I started doing at 18 years old. I realized growing up that what set a lot of people back in life was having debt. And maybe you've all heard this talk before, but truthfully, I do believe that if you have debt in life, it's going to be extremely hard to be able to get ahead. Anything outside of a mortgage, because, well, unfortunately, home prices are really expensive today, and most of us can't just pay for homes in cash. But luckily for me, the only thing that I had debt with whenever I joined the military was a car payment. It was a pretty hefty car payment for me whenever I first joined. I think that I bought my car for somewhere around $20,000. And I feel like if you just joined the military, or even if you've been in for a few years, that is a lot of money to go and try to pay off as quick as you can. And if you're anything like me, whenever I was 18, that was a lot of money every month for a car payment. And I didn't have a ton of extra money to be able to go and put towards car payments to try to pay it off quicker. And on top of the car payment, my insurance was outrageous, because if you're a dude just like me, you know that car insurance for guys is insanely expensive, especially if you live in a big city too. I was down in Tampa, Florida, so it was nuts, but that's beyond the point. So for the first 2 years, I wasn't really able to take it very serious to try to pay my car off quickly. So I started trying to get creative to try to find extra ways to pay my car off. And 2 years later, I was going to my AIT, or in my branch, we call it A school, essentially my job training. And that was in Charleston, South Carolina. And I knew that I was PCSing and that I could conduct a move where I move it myself. So essentially in the military, there's 2 different types of moves. There's your household good and your PPM. One of them is where the military moves it all for you, and the other one is where you move it yourself. And if you ever have the option to move it yourself, which you always should if you're inside of the US and you don't have to ship your stuff, then you should definitely move it yourself. Because what I did is I moved it myself, and my weight was pretty high. That's kind of how they base how much money they're going to pay you, is they see how much weight you actually physically moved, and then there's a dollar amount that's attached to that weight. So let's just say you get paid $1 per pound. I don't think that's the exact going rate, but let's just say it is. And then you're allotted a certain amount of pounds depending on the rank that you are and if you're married or not. So as an E3, I think I was allotted around 6,000 pounds. So if you move 6,000 pounds and they're paying $1 a pound, then you can make $6,000 off the move, plus all the other per diems that they pay you while you're doing that move, like paying for all of your lodging, stuff like that. And so that's exactly what I did. I moved all of my stuff myself, and then I did my claim whenever I got to my new unit, and they paid me like $7,000. And so what I did with that money is I literally took all of it and I went and paid my car off as quick as I could with it. I know that's a very long, drawn out explanation for something so simple, but that's just something that you need to do if you don't have a ton of extra money to go and pay off all of your debts, is you got to get creative. I would also do Uber Eats and stuff like that, and I would make extra little car payments, but it doesn't feel like it's moving very quickly whenever you're doing stuff like that. It feels like it's taking forever. But at the end of the day, it is still progress, and you should still work to do stuff like that, because anything is better than just paying the minimum car payment. But like I said, as soon as I paid off my car, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Think about it. I went from having a $380 a month car payment to that completely being gone. That means that I was able to save close to $4,000 extra per year in my savings account, where I could either go invest that money into stocks, or I could use it for my new VA loan home that I wanted to go and actually buy a property with. So it opens up so many extra doors by not having any debt. If you have debt right now, then if you have a pen and pad, or even if you have your phone on you and you're watching this, then go and do a calculation real quick. Just look and see, if you pay off all your debt, how much extra money could you save? And then multiply that by 0.10. That's 10%, because I guarantee that's how much money you could make on that money per year. So essentially what I'm saying is is if you were able to save an extra $10,000 a year and you invested that money and you made 10% on it, then you're going to be able to make an extra $1,000 on that money. Therefore, you're making an extra $11,000 a year. And the only reason I'm saying something like that is just to show you that if you can pay debts off, then you'll be able to save money so much quicker and you'll be able to get to that $100,000 saving mark. So the second thing that allowed me to be able to save so much money while serving in the military was something that I hit on a second ago, talking about how I would do Uber Eats and stuff like that to try to pay my car off quicker. And I have always had a side hustle since I've been in the military. I've been in for 4 years now, and I've literally had a side hustle since day one. And they've all ranged from different little things. And whenever I was 18 years old, what I did was post it on social media with my now wife. We actually had a little bit of a following on there, and we would post couples content. And I made some extra money from that, but it was never anything substantial. I think the most I ever made in a couple months was around $2,000. And so then from there, I tried another side hustle where I was painting mailboxes. It was something that I actually did in high school that was really successful for me. And I tried it again as an adult, and it didn't pan out so good, so I stopped doing that. Then I started flipping Facebook furniture. I was making decent money from that, but I drive a Honda Accord, so it was kind of hard to get couches and stuff around. I would have to use my wife's mom's car, and I had to rent a storage unit and stuff, and it just became way too big of a deal. And so what I'm trying to say is I tried a bunch of different little things. Uber Eats was honestly my most successful thing. My wife would do it. She'd make like 40 bucks an hour. So if you're watching this and you're trying to find a side hustle, try out Uber Eats, all right? And so, yeah, I tried out a bunch of different little things, and I wouldn't necessarily say that they were failing, but they weren't producing the results that I wanted. And you don't need to worry about that. If it's not producing the results that you want and you're trying a side hustle right now, that's okay. It's just the fact that you're at least trying to do something, you know? Nothing is ever gonna pan out the first time. This is my probably 5th YouTube channel that I've ever had. My TikTok page that you guys might have found me on is like my 3rd TikTok page. And finally, I feel like I found my calling and things are starting to work out for me. And whenever I turned 21, I finally found something that was successful for me within the side hustle world. And that was the Amazon Influencer Program. You may have heard of me talking about this before, but essentially it's a program where you literally just post review videos to Amazon's website. And I got in the program in February. My birthday's in December. So 2 months later, I joined this program and I just start posting an insane amount of videos to Amazon Influencer Program. And all of a sudden, 2 months later, I'm making close to $10,000 a month. And so it just kept getting crazier and crazier throughout the year. And by the end of the year, close to December, I had made about $110,000 in profit. And it completely changed my life upside down. And right there just proves that point that if you have a side hustle right now, don't give up. The point is keep trying different things. You know, like I said, I went from painting mailboxes to Uber Eats to social media to posting random review videos on Amazon's website. And it finally ended up panning out big time for me. And even though I made $110,000, obviously that wasn't all profit because, you know, I was having to buy products, run a business, and, you know, save up for taxes. That's a big thing, by the way, okay? If you ever make a lot of money, remember, you're going to get hit by taxes, okay? I had to pay about $20,000 in taxes this year. And so that definitely kind of boosted me to be able to put me in the position to save so much money at 21 years old, but that wasn't necessarily what actually got me to that $100,000 threshold. And if you're picking up on things I said, I wouldn't have been able to get in such a good position to save so much money if I had debt. The fact that I was able to save so much money was because I literally had no debt at all. I was living below my means. I had roommates. And so everything that I was making, I was just saving all of that. It was a crazy feeling. My savings account was going up by almost $10,000 every single month. And so that success led me into my 3rd step. And that was finally allowing me to get into real estate and using my VA loan. You see, ever since I was a kid, I always knew I was going to join the military and use the VA loan. I was reading books on real estate in high school, and that was really the only books that I was reading. And I always thought that using the VA loan was going to cost a lot of money. And I'm here to break a quick myth for you real fast. If you're planning to use the VA loan, it is so cheap to use. You can literally buy a home, and if you can get the seller to cover closing costs, you can buy a home with the VA loan for free pretty much, like $0 down. Obviously, you're going to have a, mortgage and all of that and owe money on the house, but the fact that you can get the home essentially for free, because if you don't know how loans work, stuff like that, Usually what people have to do is conventional loans, and that's where you have to put 20% down on a home. So if you're buying a home for $100,000, which is unheard of, that would still mean that you'd have to put $20,000 down on the home. And if you don't do that, then you have to pay something called PMI, and that's private mortgage insurance. It's pretty much an insurance that you have to pay every single month in case you were to stop paying on your loan. And that is $100 per every $100,000 on the home. So you can see that can add up pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure the average price for a home in America is $350,000. So that means you're going to be paying roughly a $350 a month insurance because you weren't able to pay 20% down. So that's why the VA loan is so great. So once I made all that money, I started looking around for my investment property, and that's where I stumbled upon a single family home. And because of all of the money that I made, I was able to get in and put down about $30,000 in renovations on this home. I bought the home for $350,000. I put about $30,000 into it, which means that I'm $380,000 deep into the house, and I could sell it right now for $430,000. So what does that mean? That means about $50,000 in profit right there. Essentially, I have $60,000 in my high yield savings account right now. I have about $20,000 in my TSP, and I could sell the home and make about $50,000 right now. So technically at 21 years old, my net worth was way over $100,000. I had way more than that in savings. If you're watching this video and this is your goal, I'm exactly like you, I promise. Like, I didn't get a bunch of money in life or anything like that. I just always knew that I wanted more for myself and to be able to build something and take my last name and my family even further in life. You know, carry the family legacy on even further. And so honestly, the 3 steps that it took me to get there, leaving a few little things out like the TSP, are steps that I feel like everyone else should follow. It's such a good pathway to do. You know, pay off all of your debt. Find a side hustle, start using the VA loan, because if you're in the military, we get a cheat code in life to real estate. Everyone in the military should be a real estate expert because of how easy it is for us to acquire real estate. Utilizing the TSP and the VA loan in the military can make you a millionaire so quickly if you just know what you're doing a little bit. And so if you want to see more videos like this, then make sure to let me know in the comments, and make sure to keep watching these videos because they're only going to get better. And I'm sorry if I was talking kind of quick in this video. It's because I'm used to TikTok videos where I have to talk a million miles an hour to keep people's attention. So let me know if you got this far, because if you did, then that makes me feel good that people actually care about things that I have to say.